Naturally, I start off as awkward as possible, but welcome back to part 2 of a bonus episode of another Picture Show podcast. My name is Madeline.
I'm Olivia.
And we are currently at odds about Disney movies. So our bonus episode, part 2, is a continuation of our Disney bracket. And we are focusing on the more modern movies that have come out for Disney and how it compares to our recent bronze, silver, Renaissance, gold, whatever side. Our champ is currently Tarzan, my personal favorite.
Our champion from part 1 of this bonus episode is Tarzan.
Damn straight. So now we have to figure out who Tarzan is going to batter to death. I mean, go up against. So Olivia, with that, where should we start? Should we start with modern era?
Yeah, so in this episode, we're going to be going over our modern era section of the bracket and our Pixar section of the bracket. And then we'll be concluding this episode with our final champion best Disney movie of all time. I think we know what it's going to be, but we're going to do it anyway. So
we're going to do the damn thing, you know? And by the by, if anybody has a problem with the result of this bracket, I don't care. I really don't. Like, I'm glad you're listening.
The results of this bracket, while they probably, I made a lot of claims in the first part of this that this will be determining if we continue this podcast or not. It's all just supposed to be fun. I'm going to calm down a little bit in this episode.
I don't know if I will. I will make no such promises.
I've been beaten into submission, I guess, so I'm just...
I didn't want it to happen this way, but here we are. No, I won't browbeat you as much as I did about Tarzan, because I really went ham. There are a couple movies in here that I am passionate about, maybe not so much as Tarzan, but I'm very passionate about some of these movies, and I will give them a fair fight when needed. So I will just put it at that. Cool. So with that, shall we get started?
Let's get into it. We're going to start with our first round of the modern era. So we have Moana versus Chicken Little.
Moana. That's just no question.
No.
My sister loves Chicken Little. My other sister, Maeve, loves Chicken Little. And yeah, I think
I've only seen Chicken Little once, and it's funny. Like, it's fine.
My favorite part is just that Zach Braff from Scrubs, like, he voices Chicken Little. Like, that's just the only part that I find very, like, humorous to me.
Yeah. And the Cheetah Girls cover of Shake Your Tail Feather. Like,
true.
That's the only thing that
that's a good one.
That I remember. Okay, we have Lilo and Stitch versus Princess and the Frog.
This one might be tough because my choice is Lilo and Stitch.
No, that's my choice too.
Okay. Ooh, thank Lord. I like Princess and the Frog. But Lilo and Stitch is a hard number 2 as far as my favorite Disney movies. I would say I'll just give my top 3. It's Tarzan, Lilo and Stitch, Beauty and the Beast. Those are my top 3 Disney movies.
Yikes. Okay.
So it's gonna get a little sad later on.
We have Tangled versus the Goofy movie. I love the Goofy movie, to be honest.
I do too, but I like Tangled more.
I do too. Tangled is up there for me as all
Tangled's
time.
Quite wholesome. I think Tangled's top 5, just not top 3.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, I love the Goofy movie. I forget about it all the time. But when I'm reminded of it,
it is very underrated. Single father raising a teenage boy, that's got to be tough. Goofy really pulled through. But
so I guess we'll go with Tangled.
Yeah, I say Tangled still. Oh, it's Wreck-It Ralph versus Treasure Planet.
I've never seen Treasure Planet. So
no,
my vote is Wreck-It Ralph.
No, I've seen both, and Treasure Planet is amazing. Treasure Planet.
I'm going to fight you on this because I can't like really argue for either. So we'll just do that because it's not going to make it all the way. So it doesn't really matter.
Treasure Planet is just, think of it as like your steampunk ultimate fantasy adventure coming to life. It's all the Jules Verne books in a Disney movie. It's like
the only Treasure Island adaptation I appreciate is the Muppets Treasure Island. So because it has Tim Curry, all of the other ones
I do love Tim Curry.
They're all irrelevant. I have to mention Muppet Treasure Planet or Muppet Treasure Island in at least every other episode. I think.
A handful. Just a handful. Every once in a while, we got to remind people that the Muppets
it exists
are valid.
And it's a classic. It's amazing. We have Zootopia versus Brother Bear.
Not Zootopia. Brother Bear. Brother Bear.
Yeah, Brother Bear.
Brother Bear.
I love Brother Bear.
I like Zootopia, but Brother Bear has been with me longer.
Yeah.
And
Phil Collins.
I love Phil Collins. It's Phil Collins.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah. And it's just like it, and it's also, I mean, Zootopia has a lot of like social commentary, but so does Brother Bear when you think about it. So that aside, I think it's Brother Bear. Like, we came to the same conclusion. Love Brother Bear.
Oh, well, this one is easy. The Emperor's New Groove versus Bolt.
Oh yeah, Bolt. Totally.
Emperor's New Groove. You were like, oh, Bolt. I'm like, oh, Bolt.
Bolt's my favorite Disney movie. No, it's Emperor's New Groove, hands down.
Yeah.
Another movie I quote very often.
We have Frozen versus Atlantis. I've not seen Atlantis for a really long time. I think I have to give it to Frozen, though.
I kind of agree. One, because Atlantis is a really good movie. It's very underrated. I would say I would put Atlantis and Treasure Planet on the same tier. However, I feel like Frozen in general is just above that because it was almost like the new Renaissance, like the new Renaissance to the Renaissance. You know what I mean?
It was like the new Lion King of like the 2000s or 2010s.
Exactly.
I know when I saw Frozen, like I thought it changed my life. I've since grown up a little bit, but I love Frozen, the original movie. I love Idina Menzel and everything she does.
I love Adele Dazeem. I agree.
Yeah.
She's amazing in everything she does.
Yeah.
Including Rent.
Yep. So
yeah, I'll give it to Frozen. I'll secede.
Can you read that?
That is Big Hero 6 versus Meet the Robinsons. And that's a tough one. My personal preference, Meet the Robinsons.
Yeah. Nope. Okay. I agree. I saw Big Hero 6 with you on Thanksgiving a few years ago, and that's the only time I've ever seen it. So
same. I've seen Meet the Robinsons multiple times since then.
Yeah.
I mean, I should watch Big Hero 6 again, but it just made me so sad. Like, my family tradition back in the day was like, my family, for some reason, Olivia and her sister Katie have spent a Thanksgiving or two with my family. And we do have another sister,
but she wasn't there. So we do have another sister, but she was not there.
Oh yeah, no, we never invite Julia to these things. She was never allowed. No. So our family does the big Thanksgiving dinner on the Friday. So on Thursday, when everything's closed, the only thing that was open in the town where my family lives is the movie theater. So we'd go see like the new Disney blockbuster. And I remember the first time I ever saw Frozen was on Thanksgiving when I was in high school, and Big Hero 6 with you when we were in college was also, it's a good time. And it's like the theater is empty. It's like such a vibe. And it's really sad because it's like, I wish I could go back to those days where it was just like me and my fam in a movie theater with no one else on a Thursday afternoon.
Yeah. Okay, next. Toy Story versus Monsters University.
Oh.
Toy Story.
Toy Story. I thought it was
Yeah.
Monsters Inc. And I was
Yeah,
like,
I was like, no, if it had been that, we would have battled it out a little
that would have
bit.
been a
But
much uglier discussion.
yeah, but Monsters University, Toy
It has
Story.
continuity errors. Get out of my life.
All right, we got WALL-E versus Inside Out. Oh, by the way, we're in the Pixar realm now.
Oh, okay, cool.
Just
Sorry.
so everyone knows. I forgot. We were just kind of just zooming in.
So Toy Story and Monsters University is where we started.
Yes.
Our Pixar. These aren't as separated as the other side, but okay.
So we got WALL-E versus Inside Out.
I personally think about WALL-E much more than I think about Inside Out.
I've never seen Inside Out, so I can't argue for it or against it. So we'll go with WALL-E.
Yeah, it's cute. It talks a lot about just dealing with your emotions, but I think WALL-E is also it hits too close to home because it's it talks a lot about the future and environmental sustainability, and I'm child's psychological development is very important, but at the same time so is our earth.
Yeah, so is Sigourney Weaver as a floating robot.
Yes,
so that's Eve.
I love Sigourney Weaver. We've already talked about that. I love Alien.
Toy Story 3 versus A Bug's Life. A Bug's Life.
A Bug's Life.
A Bug's Life was the first movie I ever saw in theaters ever. I was 3 years old. Katie was maybe 2 years old. Julia was not born yet. I was having a great time. But Katie was horrified. She was up back against the chair of the theater seats, horrified at the giant bugs on screen. But I was having a great time.
I think the first movie I remember seeing in theaters was Shrek.
Yeah, I saw that came out later though.
A couple years later. I just don't remember. I might have seen other movies, but the one I remember, Shrek.
I definitely saw Shrek in theaters as well because my uncle took me and my sisters to see it, and my parents were really pissed that he took us to see
It's a good movie. He made the right call.
No regrets on my end. So I love Shrek. Okay, so we said A Bug's Life, right?
Correct.
Okay. Next we have Monsters Inc. versus Finding Dory.
Monsters Inc.
Yeah, that's
Finding Dory's cute. But I guess a lot of the controversy with Ellen recently has left it slightly tainted.
Yeah.
Slightly tainted. If they'd made Finding Dory 2 years after Finding Nemo, it would have been harder to make this determination, but
yeah, because we would have more nostalgia for it.
And less disappointment.
Yeah. Yep. That's a whole other. We should have just a whole episode dedicated to problematic people in 2020.
In movies. Ooh, hot take.
In movies, I love
that.
Movies, and we can do it. Let's do it. Next bonus episode.
Next bonus episode.
Okay, so next we have Up versus Brave. Up.
I agree. Up. I do love Brave though. Shout out to Brave. It's very cute. Very Scottish.
Next we have Toy Story 2 versus Ratatouille. I'm gonna say Ratatouille. I watched it. I watched it recently, and it is adorable, and I love it. And I'm sad that people don't talk about it very often because it's very cute.
I think a lot about the scene where I think a lot about Disney movies, obviously, but I think a lot about the scene where the food critic eats his ratatouille for the first time, and he is taken back to his childhood and everything. And also I don't want a Toy Story monopoly going forward, so I agree, Ratatouille.
Well, I think of the Toy Stories, the second Toy Story is kind of trash comparatively, so I think it's easy to move on without it.
Yeah, because that's the one
we
where
already got
locked up by the crazy toy collector, right?
Yeah.
That although the scene where he sews up Woody is very satisfying.
It is very satisfying.
But other than that, it doesn't matter.
I could just watch that scene, but alas, we
are here.
There's more to it than just that.
Thank Flavin.
Okay. We've got Coco versus Cars.
So Cars I've never seen Coco. Cars is a dumpster fire of a movie. So I'm going to go with Coco. Like, I'm literally going to put my money on a movie I've never seen because I've heard so many good things about Coco.
Coco is amazing, and I was going to vote for it anyway, but I like Cars. I have no problem with Cars. I think it's fun and cute, but I'm going to vote for Coco as well. I just had to put that in there.
Okay, I'll let you give props to Cars. I won't say anything more about it.
Coco made Ryan cry because it's like so sweet.
I've heard it's made a lot of people cry, and I think that's why I'm avoiding it.
No, it's a good one. It's cute. It surprised me because, like, I don't know why I've been hesitant to watch a lot of the more recent Disney movies. I think because a lot of the like live action ones just like make me mad. So for a while I was just avoiding any Disney movies. But then this one got a ton of praise, and like it looked really pretty. So I was like, I'll check it out. And then I watched it and I was like, and then I made Ryan watch it, and he cried, and I was like, this is a good movie. So
what was the other movie that came out recently? Or not recently, it came out like probably like 6 or 7 years ago. And it's also about like the afterlife, and he does the main character does a cover of Creep. Or like they do a cover of Creep. He dies and he goes to like the land of the dead. What the heck is that movie called? Oh, The Book of Life is the name of the movie. Oh. I don't think it's a Disney movie, but it's like there's this one part like one of his, like, I think he's the main character is like trying to confess his love to like his love, and one of his friends is in the background like playing like kind of like a mariachi version of Creep. He's like, "'Cause I'm a creep," and it's so good. I will never forget that. It's very cute though. Anyway, sorry to distract from that, but I always think of like when I heard Coco come out, I was like, oh yeah, The Book of Life is like a similar topic, but Coco is like apparently like much sweeter and like much more sad, like pulls at your heartstrings more, I guess. Because I liked The Book of Life a lot. I really like that movie.
It's very well done. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at this last combo, and I'm like kind of really upset that like this is how it's come together. We got Finding Nemo versus The Incredibles.
Incredibles. That's my take between the two.
Yeah. Incredibles.
Okay. Props to Nemo. Very good movie. Very sweet.
I think that's cop-out. Like, why did they have to pair those two together? They should have been able to move on. Like, both of those should have, like, been up against some, like, other crappy movie.
Right. Some flaming piece of trash that Disney published. But I think The Incredibles is, I mean, both are fun movies. Like, both are fun movies, but I love, like, the superhero family element. I think it's very cute. Very funny. So I don't know. That's just my take. It's almost like a reaction, like an instant reaction where I had to be like, boom, Incredibles.
Okay, so we're doing round 2 of the modern era Disney movies now.
Yeah.
This is where things start to get more serious.
Mm-hmm.
We have Moana versus Lilo and Stitch. We gotta go Lilo and Stitch.
I agree. Thank you. Oh, I got scared. Spooky season's not over yet, guys. I was scared for a second because Moana's beautiful music, beautiful movie, but Lilo and Stitch has my heart and always will. It's so cute. I cry every time I watch Lilo and Stitch. The scene where Nani and Lilo are like, Nani's like kind of trying to explain that Lilo's gonna get taken away by social services, and they're singing like the Aloha Oi song, and like the flowers are floating away, and Stitch is like, what's happening? I'm literally tearing up thinking about it. I'm like gonna cry right now. But it's so sweet and so sad. So I love Lilo.
Oh, it's a good one. It was Katie's birthday one year, I think, when this came out, and it was this movie, Lilo and Stitch, and Spirit, the Stallion of the Cimarron movie. They both came out at the same time, and I think she had wanted to see Spirit over Lilo and Stitch, but the Spirit movie was sold out, so we had to see Lilo and Stitch, and I really enjoyed it. Obviously, Spirit of the Cimarron is like my jam. Like it has become
Spirit's
my jam.
a good movie.
The soundtrack to that movie, it's not a Disney movie. It's not irrelevant to
Isn't
this.
it Bryan Adams does the soundtrack too?
Yeah, Bryan Adams. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I do love Spirit. I think Spirit and Balto are also on like the same level. They're not Disney movies. Spirit and Balto, I think we watched them back to back one time. You and I did, like a long time ago.
I've watched Spirit when I was like drunk many times, just because it makes me feel good.
I told you the other day I cried reading Balto's Wikipedia page, but you know,
you are something else.
Still,
yeah, but Katie was very, very upset that we couldn't see Spirit and we had to see Lilo and Stitch. But I think we both can appreciate Lilo and Stitch for the amazing movie that it is.
It's an amazing movie. I love it very much. All right.
What's next? Next up, we have Tangled versus Treasure Planet.
I love Treasure Planet, but I have to give it to Tangled. I love both movies, but my personal preference, Tangled.
Next up, we have Brother Bear versus The Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, difficult. That's hard.
Yeah. Okay,
hold on. I gotta do some strategy real quick. I gotta do some optics.
No.
Fine.
Let's just focus on this so that we can like fairly do it as we keep going. I feel like we did too much strategizing last time.
Fair.
So
all right, what's your
I think I have to go with Emperor's New Groove.
I understand.
Because Yzma
and Kronk, I get it.
Yeah, and Kronk. Yeah.
Well, okay, I agree. We'll go Emperor's New Groove.
Like I love Brother Bear, but like we got the little like guy that jumps out of a cake and like they throw an old man out the window. Like, come on, it's just
sorry.
Excuse me, sir. You've thrown off the Emperor's Groove.
Oh, good movie.
So good.
It is good. Okay. All right.
They like fall off the map and they end up somewhere else and they're like, by all accounts, it doesn't make sense. Like how they end up here. So funny. So good. I could go on. I love that movie so much.
It's a good movie. I love the bit where like they all turn into like animals and then the one guy's like, I'm a cow. Can I go home? And he's like, yeah, sure. I've had a really long day. I got turned into a cow. Can I go home? And he's like, does anybody else want to go home? And they're all like, no, we're good.
Kronk's like made dinner and he's like, but what about dessert or coffee? And she's like, okay, we have time for dessert and 1 cup of coffee. Then we'll go and like finish the job. Like they have to have coffee before they go kill Kuzco.
Same. I get it.
Okay. Last one in our round 2 of the modern era is Frozen versus Meet the Robinsons.
You've seen both movies, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, but I love Meet the Robinsons. I personally like it more than Frozen. But okay. I understand that Frozen is probably the more logical choice between the two.
Well, why do you think that? Because like maybe there's a case here.
So both of them are kind of like, they both have like, it's tough because they both have like that family element where it's kind of talking about like that family loyalty that conflict of like identity, because Elsa clearly has an issue with who she is. She's suppressed like her abilities for so long. She's doubted herself for so long. But at the same time, in Meet the Robinsons, Cornelius, as he's later called, he has his issues with, well, Lewis is his like name in the movie, and then he calls himself Cornelius later on. Lewis has a lot of issues with like his identity because he was orphaned, and like his abilities as like a scientist, and you know, he's challenged a lot by like his lack of like a real family, and then he finds one, and then he has to like understand, I guess, like his place in the world. Same with Elsa. So I understand both sides. I think Meet the Robinsons is, both are wholesome, but I feel like Meet the Robinsons is much more wholesome because it has like multiple different, I think it kind of like emphasizes like failure, and like owning who you are can like make you like a much more whole person. It does kind of in Frozen, it does acknowledge that like once Elsa kind of embraces like her powers and like her ability to like make ice and snow and stuff, like she definitely becomes more comfortable with who she is, but like she kind of has to continue that journey in Frozen 2. I think in Meet the Robinsons it's much more cohesive, where Lewis understands like he has to go back to his time, he has to like embrace who he is, he has to continue his journey of like failure and struggle and like acceptance, and you know, adapting to his new family and his new life, and then it builds to that future he's already seen. Whereas Elsa's like, cool, I've embraced who I am as a strong independent woman who can like do ice and shit, but I still have to work other stuff out, and it takes an entire second movie.
And even then, I don't think she figured it out.
Even then, she's like complacent with where she's left it, but like it kind of low-key leaves room for a Frozen 3. I think that's why they kind of concluded it the way they did. Spoiler alert for those who have not seen the second Frozen. But Frozen 2 kind of leaves it open where it's like she's like queen, like she's the fourth spirit or the fifth spirit or whatever, but like there's a possibility for another conflict because Disney is low-key a cash grab machine at this point.
No, high key. What are you talking about? High key.
I don't want to get canceled by Disney. I love you, Disney. Corporate adoption day is coming soon, y'all. So Disney is a mega cash grab machine, and they're probably leaving the possibility of a third Frozen movie open. But I think at the time that Meet the Robinsons was made, they were like, you know what? We want just like a solid, like wholesome, keep moving forward. Like a Walt Disney quote is literally like the entire premise of this movie. You know what I mean? So I just think it's much more satisfying to me than Frozen.
I'll say I agree.
Ooh.
No, I like Frozen, and it's like first thought is like it should go forward because it's just like the mega movie that it's become. But like the more you think about it, like I do agree. I think Meet the Robinsons is like much more complicated in its message and its like story, and there's a lot of things that I forget about that movie, but like rewatching it, it's like, oh, this is
like Goob, like how Goob becomes bowler hat guy, and it's like, you know, you have to like, it's also one of the things where it's like you have to like own who, like it's again, it's like Goob refuses to own who he was and like own his failures. Like he blames Lewis because he kept him up all night or whatever. But at the same time, it's like eventually you can't blame others for your problems, like when they were yours to begin with, like when they were a direct result of your actions. So, or, you know, it was something that like you can be mad about for a certain
blame
time.
The evil top hat.
Damn
that
straight.
Tries to take over the world.
Technology is evil.
So I think we can say Meet the Robinsons moves forward.
Yeah.
Yay!
I'm very passionate about Meet the Robinsons.
Okay, so that's the end of round 2 for our modern era. So we can move on to round 2 of our Pixar movies. We've got Toy Story versus WALL-E.
Ooh. Toy Story.
Toy Story.
Toy Story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have A Bug's Life versus Monsters, Inc.
I like the message from A Bug's Life so much, but I like Monsters, Inc. better.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Monsters, Inc.
Bug's Life has a great message, though.
I have nothing else to say. It's sad. We have to do it. I'm sorry.
Sacrifices have to be made.
Yep. Then we have Up versus Ratatouille.
Up. I
Okay.
understand,
Okay.
though.
Okay.
I think Up is just, it is just so heartbreaking, and you want the old man
just
to
the first 10 minutes of it alone, like, kind of blow anything else out of the water. So,
true, it destroys you to the point where you want it to succeed.
Yeah. Then we have Coco versus The Incredibles.
Okay, well, this is the point where not seeing Coco has come to bite Coco in the ass, and I'm going to say The Incredibles.
No, I think that's fair. I like The Incredibles.
I like
Coco too. Maybe we'll watch Coco as a review sometime.
Yeah, I would love to. That's it, right?
Okay, so that's it for round 2 of our Pixar movies.
I spent a really long time battling between Frozen and Meet the Robinsons because that went by very quick.
We weren't even battling. I was just like letting you talk so that I could approve it. Okay, so we're on to round 3 of our modern era Disney movies.
Mm-hmm.
So Lilo and Stitch versus Tangled. I love both of these movies. They're both like in my top 5. So,
they're both in my top 5. I agree. My instinct still is Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I love Lilo and Stitch. I'm sorry.
I love Lilo and Stitch.
I'm stressed out.
I know. I'm really sad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Tangled.
We got rid of Tangled and Frozen on this list.
We're savage.
What are we doing? All right. Okay. So we have Emperor's New Groove versus Meet the Robinsons.
Oh no. Meet the Robinsons, in my opinion.
I gotta go Emperor's New Groove. I'm sorry. I have to go Emperor's New Groove.
Okay. I know I said I wouldn't do this.
It's hilarious.
I'm thinking a little strategically, and I will agree with Emperor's New Groove just based on the bracket, because if I had to decide between Meet the Robinsons and Lilo and Stitch, it would destroy me. So I know where I'm beat. Meet the Robinsons destroyed Frozen, so I think I'm satisfied with that.
Okay. So we have Emperor's New Groove. That is the end of round 3 for the modern era.
Okay.
Round 3 of the Pixar era, we have Toy Story versus Monsters, Inc.
Ooh, spicy. No lie, Monsters, Inc. I prefer it over Monsters, Toy Story. Inc. Okay.
Yeah, same.
Okay. I watched it recently, and it's freaking great, y'all. It is timeless. Toy Story's good. I love Tim Allen. I love Tom Hanks. Like, you can't go wrong with Tom Hanks. But God, I just love the scene where the costume gets stuck in the trash compactor and like Sully passes out like every 5 seconds. It's a good movie. He keeps getting up and like fainting again. Oh, it's so good.
And then finally we have Up versus The Incredibles. I say Incredibles.
I agree, actually. Okay, that was easier than I thought. I like The Incredibles a lot.
Bye-bye, Up. Okay.
Bye-bye. You're going down, Up.
Yep. All right, we're in our final round of modern era Disney movies. And the final two are Lilo and Stitch and The Emperor's New Groove.
Lilo and Stitch. I can't.
Yep.
I can't argue against Emperor's New Groove. Or for Emperor's New Groove, I should say.
I love The Emperor's New Groove so much, but
I really have a feeling I know what this is going to boil down to now. Okay, next.
Pretty much you're coming up on top no matter what, so.
Okay, so what's our next round?
We have our final two in the Pixar bracket is Monsters, Inc. versus The Incredibles.
Yeah, I like The Incredibles a lot, but I love Monsters, Inc. And that leaves us to Monsters, Inc. versus...
We have Monsters, Inc. versus Lilo and Stitch.
You already know my choice. I think Lilo and Stitch they both have sweet messages, of course, about friendship and like accepting differences and stuff like that, and like understanding that like not all monsters are evil or whatever, but the music for Lilo and Stitch slaps. I feel like I have to pull out like my extra feelings about Lilo and Stitch to like really cement my argument. Music slaps. Stitch is just straight up the cutest thing I've ever seen in my entire frickin' life. I will never get over how cute Stitch is at all times. I wish Stitch was
like... Can you do the Stitch voice?
I can't. I've never been able to do the Stitch voice.
I can try. I used to be able to do it. I might
scared.
Cut this out.
Okay.
Ohana means family.
I can't do it. I'm gonna try. I'll try too.
Is that good?
We're cutting all of this out. That was actually pretty good. I won't lie. That was pretty good. Okay. We're cutting my part out though because it's not gonna be good at all.
Family means no one gets left behind or forgotten.
I think it's mostly my face is just beyond recognition when I do the Stitch voice.
It's good. Still good.
It's good. My family is broken, but good.
This is gonna be the promo for the episode. Listen to another producer podcast.
Please, we want you to listen so bad. Ohana means
Why does your Stitch have a British accent?
Jane's program. Not Island of Hawaii, but Isle of Man.
That's very posh.
Thank you.
I think it's like, I don't know.
All right. We're good. We've decided that Lilo and Stitch has won this bracket. Okay.
Stitch voice alone.
Which leaves us with our final battle between our winner from last episode, which is Tarzan, and our winner from this episode, which is Lilo and Stitch. So Madeline, you've won. Yay!
No matter what.
You've done this to yourself, so
I know.
I know what I would vote for.
I know what you would vote for as well.
What am I voting for?
I feel like you would go Lilo and Stitch.
Mm-hmm.
So, while I concede with that decision, I agree. I will make my case once again for Tarzan. It's just fucking great. That's it. Full stop. Phil Collins.
It is. Okay. I feel like you're talking as if I hate Tarzan. I love Tarzan.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
This is me. Okay. This is me just like giving Tarzan one last like
hurrah
before we just crown Lilo and Stitch as the best movie, best Disney movie of all time.
This was unexpected.
I know. I really thought like Lilo and Stitch was gonna get like knocked down earlier on. Because I was like, oh shit, like Moana's a good movie. I was like, and that's first round. That's gonna be tough. So I was like, I think that's why I think I hammered so hard for Tarzan, like, because I knew what was up ahead for Lilo and Stitch. So I was like, I want to get at least Tarzan like a fair shot because that's my number one. But I think in the grand scheme of things, Tarzan, amazing. Love it. Love everything about it. Flawless. Don't come at me. Tarzan is also one of my favorite books, so I'm a little biased. But I definitely think Lilo and Stitch deserves this title. For sure.
Yep. I agree with everything you just said. I love Tarzan. I think it's definitely well-deserved in the top two. I'm really surprised that Lilo and Stitch has come out the victor, but I'm also very happy about that. So
I am too. No, I genuinely am like just so happy because I was like, I would not that like we're basic or any like either of us are basic, but I definitely would have been like really frustrated if like it was like Tarzan versus like Frozen or Lion King versus Frozen, and it was like one of those where it's like I feel like a lot of people have that that discussion and that argument.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that it's like two movies that people have seen and people probably like, but definitely don't consider like the best Disney movies of all time. I just like that we kind of came from like, okay, these are my top two movies. So like, I understand that I can talk people down. I can beat people down with my words. But I still think even like take away the fact that they're my top two, I think they're very good movies. And I think they deserve their time to shine.
I agree. We did it. We did
it.
The entire fucking thing. That was a lot of movies.
That was a lot of movies to condense into a bracket.
I'm not super disappointed with any of them not going through, although I would have been super happy if Emperor's New Groove made it through, but I understand.
I like Emperor's New Groove a lot. I'm just I think my crowning achievement was taking Frozen down with Meet the Robinsons.
Yeah. That wasn't a hard battle because I feel like I've been frozen out. Like I loved Frozen when it first came out and I still love Frozen, but like I'm frozen out.
I agree.
And I think that because it was so big, it kind of like drowned out a lot of other really like competent movies. And Robinsons is definitely like well made and definitely deserves all the credit and attention that it gets. So
I agree. Although I will say about Frozen 2, music slaps. Music just chills. Just one song in particular just wrecks my body every time I listen to it. I think it's the Show Yourself. No, it's the song where she discovers that she's like the other spirit or whatever. It's the Show Yourself song, and she's like doing a duet with like her dead mother. And it is a really good song. I think I'm gonna listen to it after we get off.
It's a good one. The story kind of left some things to be desired, but
yeah, that's why I said I think they're just leaving it open for a third possible movie. Like they're like something will challenge like Elsa's, reign of the forest or whatever, and then the gang's got to get back together and go to like they got to branch out even further. They got to go from like fucking Norway to like England or something.
Yeah. Somewhere where it's warm. Well, I think we can start to wrap it up here. We finished our bracket. Lilo and Stitch is the victor. And we're both pretty happy about that. So.
I am very happy about that, actually. I'm going to watch Lilo and Stitch, listen to some Frozen 2 soundtrack, and just revel in the glory that is the cash grab machine of Disney.
Excellent. Well, this was fun, Madeline. Thank you for not being too mean to me.
I love you. I'd never be mean to you.
No,
we
never.
both put up a good fight. I
we
see.
did.
I do want to give a Hunchback of Notre Dame another shot. I think you've definitely sold it pretty well to me that I should watch it again. I haven't seen it in a long time.
It holds up. It's definitely one of the greater ones from the Renaissance for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It gives me like, I just thinking about the music, it like makes me like crumple into a little ball because I'm just like like shivers everywhere. It's like so good. Yeah, and it's really dark, and I guess I really like dark things. So
Same.
anyways, I think that's everything for this week, so we can wrap it up. You can find us on YouTube, on iTunes, on Google Podcasts, on Spotify as well. I don't know why I forgot about Spotify. You can also follow us on Instagram at Another Picture Show, and follow us on Twitter at Another Pic Pod. And if you want to leave a comment in any of those places, let us know what movies we should review, or if you just want to tell us how wrong we are about all of our opinions, we'll gladly
I'm
listen
welcome to it. I'm welcome to the challenge if you haven't already noticed.
Yeah. So with that, I bid you a lovely evening, Madeline.
Thank you, Olivia, and you as well. This was
Bye.
fun. Bye.